This week on Trey's Retro Revival, Mortal Kombat turns 25. Released on September 13th, 1992. And it turns out that I have both of them for this. So, for the Mortal Kombat's 25th anniversary, we're going to do a head-to-head. So, Mortal Kombat Genesis versus Mortal Kombat Super Nintendo. Let's fight.
Your destiny. Flawless victory. Fight. Finish it.
So, Mortal Kombat on Sega Genesis versus Mortal Kombat on Super Nintendo. Here are the title screens here. This is the Sega Genesis one. Has this nice moving people, all the characters. And the Nintendo one is just kind of bland and boring. But you got two dragons on there, so there you go. Now first off, you're going to say, hey, the Sega Genesis version has the blood code. That makes it the winner, right? Well, that does give them a pretty big advantage, but there's more to get into after that. Here's the blood. Look at that blood and its redness in the Sega Genesis version. Whereas the Super Nintendo, the blood was replaced by sweat. Now it just looks like this brown liquid comes out of them. And the pit was in there for the Genesis, but in the Super Nintendo, you know, they just seem to just fall between the spikes. With no blood at all, unfortunately. And now the finishing moves. There's Kano's iconic heart rip out there with the blood and the pulsing heart and all that. Whereas the Super Nintendo one is not quite there. It looks like he just titty twisters him to death or something. I don't know what that is. And they won't even say fatality, just says finishing bonus. There's Johnny Cage's head popper there versus the Super Nintendo one that's just plain silly. I mean, he put his foot in his stomach. Where there's the Sub-Zero one where you get to see the spinal cord. I feel like the Super Nintendo one actually kind of improved this, or it definitely made a cool one. I mean, doing the Ice Shattered one. I mean, I feel like this even inspired Mortal Kombat 2 to add it into it as their regular finishing move. I mean, that's definitely a compliment, right? With Raiden, we got shocking the guy's head off there. The Super Nintendo one's not that bad. I mean, I think it's actually kind of cool. Pretty much just the same animation, but this time it turns him into dust, and his skull falls there. It's weird that anything involving blood they took out, but not, you know, losing your skin. Just like this, where Scorpion shocks all your skin off here, or shoots it off, burns it off. Whereas they kept that one in. Like melting the flesh off your bones, that's not bad. It's just when you actually see blood, now that's where it gets bad. And Liu Kang's finishing move is lame through both of them, but at least there's blood on that one. And the Super Nintendo one, you can use it to, you know, knock them into the pit as well. Well, the non-blood pit. Sonya Blade's Kiss of Death. Listen to the sound difference there. Like there was no sound of her blowing it at them. There's the Super Nintendo version. Yeah, you still hear a little bit of the on there. Just the subtle differences. Which, speaking of which, the Sega Genesis doesn't have much voices in it, so as you can see, Raiden's Superman move is quite silent. Whereas versus the Super Nintendo one, you get to hear it all the time, which I guess could get kind of annoying if you do it all the time. And the Goros are different. Like, you know, Goro seems a little bit more silent. He has some grunts that he does, but he's definitely cheap in both versions. tell the background sound is definitely a lot louder too. Versus the Super Nintendo version here. Megoro makes grunts when you hit him. And he made a grunt when he jumped there. And of course you have, like, yeah, lots more screams too. But he's just as hard as he was in the other one. Here's just 30 seconds of just regular play of the Sega Genesis version.
Get over here.
You can hear that there's not much noise for Kano's flip move there. It's pretty silent. Versus the Super Nintendo version here, where we can hear all the flips. And you can hear right there, it's much different between the two of them. You look at the backgrounds too. So which one won, do you think? I say, well, probably the Super Nintendo for the graphics and the sound if you're into that. Or if you're adamant on the blood and the finishing moves, then you'd say Genesis. But I don't know. It's all kind of up to you. Which one is the ultimate Mortal Kombat master? I'm just here to show you all the differences. And that has been the Trey's Retro Revival video for Mortal Kombat vs. Mortal Kombat. Thank you for watching, and if you like it on YouTube, subscribe to us and leave us a comment. You can also listen to me on NintenDomain Podcast at NintenDomainPodcast.com. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. You are the Supreme Mortal Kombat Warrior.